8:15 your time, turning now to You Decide 2018 coverage. This morning we pick back up with our coverage of the Republican gubernatorial candidates.
Republican primary voters sent a very strong message. They're fed up with career politicians who are bought and paid for by the special interests.
Secretary of State Brian Kemp has built his campaign on being the politically incorrect conservative with a track record of fighting and winning. So who does he plan to fight and win for Georgia if he becomes the next governor? Mr. Kemp joins us now to explain. We appreciate you coming in this morning.
Great to be with you. Thanks so much.
All right, so here we go. Still 49 days to go before the runoff. We're talking about 9 weeks between the primary and the runoff. That's a long time. Is that too long, and what do you do during all that time?
I don't think it is. You know, after being on the campaign trail for 14 months, we knew where it was coming here. We're prepared for it. We're embracing the runoff. Actually, we had a great surge on primary day. We're riding that momentum with a great poll that came out this week, shows this race is neck and neck. Our folks are fired up and we're ready to go.
I like it. Okay, so it seems that at least based on the commercials that we saw running during the before leading up to the primary, that you're running on 2 main issues. You would talk about the Second Amendment and illegal immigration. So why did you decide to make those 2 issues your strategy? And also, how effective do you think those ads were? We were talking about it a minute ago. People are always asking you about that big truck, right?
Well, they are talking about the big truck. They're talking about all my guns, but really it's about who's going to fight for who out there. And that's, as I've traveled to all 159 counties in this state, been in the private sector for 30 years as a small business owner. I know y'all have had several shots of my wife and my daughters. You know, I'm concerned about keeping my family safe. And people really want to know out there who is up there fighting for us, who's going to fight for us as their governor. I have a record of doing that in the Secretary of State's office, and that's exactly what I'm going to do as governor. I'm going to fight for those hardworking Georgians out there. Put them first ahead of the special interests, the status quo, the politically correct, and those that are here illegally.
So in your opinion, what is the biggest issue facing Georgians, the one that you think will ultimately decide who faces Stacey Abrams in November?
Well, I think it's more than one issue. I mean, we got to have a safe community to raise our families and provide a good job and good opportunities. You know, I'm running on making Georgia #1 for small business, taking a chainsaw that I had in the back of that big truck, the government regulations, making sure all of our states moving forward. I've seen that. You know, we got areas around the state that are still struggling. We need a governor that's going to focus on our whole state. But most importantly, we got to have a governor that's going to put Georgians first ahead of the special interests. And that's really where the contrast is in this race. I'm not the special interest candidate. I'm embracing that. And I am politically incorrect, and I'm saying what I think, and people, and especially Republican primary voters, are embracing that.
You talk about reforming state government, eliminating wasteful programs, tax incentives, and bureaucracy. Can you be specific, though? What are some of these programs and tax incentives? How will that all work?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's asking, you know, I'm going to be a governor that's going to ask that question, how much is it going to cost and who's going to pay for it? Are we getting a good return on investment? Bringing the private sector experience I have of over 30 years to state government, and I have a record of doing that in the Secretary of State's office, so Georgians can trust me to do it as their governor. We've cut our budget 25%. We reduced the number of people we have. We're using technology to do more work. We've taken that chainsaw to government regulations. We've done huge IT projects dealing with all 159 counties to save millions of dollars and get a better system that's more secure. We need to do that through all of the state government, and I have the experience to do that, and that's what I will do as governor.
Do you plan on lowering taxes for families, for small businesses, and if so, how's that going to work?
Well, everybody in the race then when we started was talking about lowering taxes. My opponent now was talking about a $100 million tax cut. Now it's trying to take credit for President Trump's $3.2 billion tax cut that created a windfall in Georgia. But what I said was, look, we need to cap spending. We need to fundamentally reform how state government spends, taxes, and operates. And I want to start with a spending cap that's tied to population and inflation, so we budget conservatively. We fund the things that we properly need to fund, like education, public safety, transportation, infrastructure, health care, so on. And then we can continue to lower the income tax rate as we move forward. I've got a plan for doing that, and then people can trust me to do it.
So it seems when you talk about traffic and infrastructure, it seems your opinion is that's more of a City of Atlanta, a Metro Atlanta issue than it is a statewide issue, and is that accurate?
Well, I wouldn't say that's accurate. I mean, we got a detailed transportation plan on our website, but I am going to be the candidate that's going to ask how much is it going to cost and who's going to pay for it. It's easier to say, you know, let's bridge over the downtown connector, let's tunnel under it. But how much is it going to cost you to get into that tunnel or to get onto that bridge? That's what nobody's saying. Same thing with the rail. It's not that I'm against it. It's just, you know, who's going to pay for it and how much is it going to cost? And I'm going to ask those questions. But we also need to be innovative. You know, I think Governor Deal's done a great job with our inland ports. I want to build off of that, expand those, get truck traffic off of the roads here in Atlanta that create congestion. 4-lane from Macon to LaGrange on up through Chattanooga, so we got a bypass, if you will, for that truck traffic that's coming out of the port and up I-75 south. You know, look at innovation like the Hyperloop and other things, public-private partnerships. I mean, I read a great article the other day where the private sector is doing mass transit with rail. I mean, we need to think outside the box. Autonomous vehicles, all of those things will be on my radar as governor.
What is the biggest difference between you and the lieutenant governor when it comes to this race, when it comes to looking at the issues? What's the biggest difference between you two?
I think the biggest issue is people need to ask and look, who's the candidate that they can trust to put them first over the special interest? To me, that's the biggest interest. You know, it's clear he's the special interest candidate. He's been at the Capitol as long as I've been married, 24 years, and that crowd's all with him. And I'm putting Georgians first, and that's the contrast to me.
Well, let's look at the big picture here, too. What is the biggest difference between the current administration under Governor Deal, a very popular governor, and a Brian Kemp administration?
Well, look, Governor Deal has done a fabulous job as governor. I'm very supportive of his efforts, and I'm the candidate in the race that doesn't just want to take credit for all that he's done or President Trump's done. I actually want to build off of the great things that Governor Deal's done. You know, he had a prerogative to do, and a mission, if you will, to do criminal justice reform. Well, I want to build off of that and do public safety reform. We've got 2 plans to do that with track and deport criminal illegals, stop and dismantle gangs. You know, Governor Deal's done a great job of making Georgia #1 for business in the country. I want to build off that and make us #1 for small business. I think that's the next place we need to go. People want to vote for a governor that's going to take us somewhere else, not for somebody that's trying to take credit for what the current governor has done.
And for the record, the big truck was not a prop. That's your truck, right?
No. I took a picture of the big truck that was parked up by my barn by my old Suburban that I've driven to all 159 counties in this state. And you never know, it may make another debut here in the runoff.
All right. Mr. Secretary, we appreciate you coming in today. Thanks a lot, and good luck over the next 49 days. And again, that runoff is Tuesday, July 24th. You can watch the interviews with both candidates on the Good Day Atlanta, fox5atlanta.com. The Good Day page at fox5atlanta.com, rather. And you can count on Fox 5 for full coverage of the race results on air, online, and on the Fox 5 mobile app.